On April 5th, Friday morning, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake recorded in New Jersey. It was one of the strongest quake in state's history after 140 years.
We haven't felt an earthquake that strong, that close to the city in our lifetime.
Right, everyone's saying, wow, I've never felt something like this in New York City.
I was scared. I've never felt one before.
It felt really strange because it was my first time experiencing that.
It shook residents in surrounding states and New York City. This quake shook buildings on the East Coast, surprising residents in that area. A similar earthquake with an intensity of 7.4 was recorded 2 days before New York's earthquake on Taiwan's Hualien County. So the question here arises, are earthquakes increasing? Well, we will know that in a bit. The earthquakes are powerful natural events that can have significant consequences. Today in this video we will explain and tell you about earthquakes, focusing on the recent earthquakes in Taiwan and New York, answering the basic common questions of people that, what causes earthquake? Why earthquakes in the East are so much more dangerous? When earthquakes happen, how earthquakes can bring other disasters like tsunamis or volcanic eruption, and in the end we will tell you about the precautions to take when earthquakes hit your area. Let's unfold the untold story of earthquakes. Join us on a journey through the recent seismic events, exploring the truth, facts, and incredible resilience in the face of disaster. In recent days, large-scale earthquakes have occurred globally. On April 3rd, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck the eastern sea area of Hualien County, Taiwan, with a depth of 12 km. As of April 10th, this earthquake has resulted in 13 deaths, 1,133 injuries, and 6 people is missing. On April 5th, on another side of the globe, a magnitude 4.8 earthquake occurred on the east coast approximately 60 km from New York City, with a depth of about 5 km. It was the strongest earthquake in New York in 140 years. In Japan, a magnitude 6.1 earthquake occurred off the east coast of Honshu on April 2nd. On April 6th, another magnitude 5.3 earthquake occurred far offshore of the east coast of Honshu, with a depth of 10 km. A big earthquake happened on January 1st in Japan's Noto Peninsula, measuring 7.6 on the scale. Then, on January 3rd, there was a 5.5 magnitude earthquake in Argentina, followed by a 5.7 magnitude one in the Fiji Islands on January 4th. If you look at the bigger picture, like a decade or so, and consider a wider range of data, you can see that there has been a growing trend of big earthquakes and small earthquakes, with an average of 16345 quakes happening per year around the globe, which is 297 more than the last year's average, which was 16,049 on 2022. That certainly means earthquakes has increased this year. I want you to imagine the Earth like a giant jigsaw puzzle, but instead of being in one piece, it's made up of big parts called tectonic plates. There are 7 major plates as shown in this map, and 15 minor plates. These plates aren't still, they move around very slowly, kind of like how icebergs drift in the ocean. The reason why tectonic plates move constantly is because of the hot, swirling magma underneath pushing them around. Now, sometimes these plates bump into each other, slide past each other, or pull apart. When they do this, it can create a lot of energy, like when you rub your hands together really fast and they get warm. This energy can build up and up until it's too much for the plates to handle, and then boom, there's an earthquake. During an earthquake, the ground shakes because of all that energy trying to get released. That sudden release of energy can cause buildings, trees, and everything else to move, which is why earthquakes can be so powerful and sometimes causes a lot of damages and destructions. It is because some parts of the world, like the East, have a special kind of tectonic plates called a subduction zone. A subduction zone is a spot where 2 of the planet's tectonic plates collides, or in these zones, one plate goes under another plate. Kind of like when you slide one piece of paper under another. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, this movement creates a lot of pressure and energy. When this pressure is released suddenly, it causes a really big earthquake. This tectonic process can produce some of the planet's most powerful earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. So earthquakes in the East, especially in places with subduction zones, can be more dangerous because these zones can create powerful earthquakes due to the plates sliding under each other. It's like a big, strong push that can shake things up a lot. At 10:23 a.m. on Friday, a magnitude 4.8 earthquake rumbled through the northeastern United States, according to the United States Geological Survey, sending tremors from Philadelphia to Boston and jolting buildings in Manhattan and throughout the 5 boroughs. The USGS reported that the earthquake's epicenter was near White House Station, NJ, about 40 miles west of New York City. The agency estimated the depth of the bedrock rupture at 2.9 miles. At 5:59 p.m. Eastern on Friday, a light aftershock with a magnitude of 3.8 struck near Gladstone, New Jersey, according to USGS. Aftershocks are usually smaller earthquakes that happen after a bigger one in the same area. They're just small adjustments along the part of the fault that moved during the main earthquake. Aftershocks can happen days, weeks, or even years after the first earthquake. They can be as strong or even stronger than the first one, and they can keep affecting places that were already damaged. Wendy Bohan, an independent earthquake geologist, says,
"We know that there have been moderate and strong earthquakes in this region in the past, which means there will likely be moderate or strong earthquakes in the future."
Judith Hubbard, a Cornell University earthquake scientist, says,
The April 5th quake was indeed notable on a geologically short timescale. This was the largest earthquake in probably 140 years for this area. The last one like it happened way back in 1884.
In New York City, where tremors were felt for more than 30 seconds, there were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, but the quake triggered numerous delays and temporary closures of transportation infrastructure in the area. The National Tsunami Warning Center said the East Coast is safe from a tsunami after the earthquake. Tsunami? Yes, you heard right. Earthquakes can bring other disasters as well, like tsunami or volcanic eruption. It is because when tectonic plates move, they can cause other things to happen, like tsunami or volcanic eruptions. Let's start with tsunami. When there's a really big earthquake under the ocean, it can push a huge amount of water up, kind of like splashing in a bathtub. This big splash of water creates giant waves called tsunami. These waves can travel really fast across the ocean and crash into coastal areas, causing a lot of flooding and damage. Now, let's talk about volcanic eruptions. Sometimes when tectonic plates move, they can also push magma up from deep inside the earth. This magma can break through the earth's crust and erupt out of a volcano in the form of lava. When a volcano erupts, it spews out hot lava, ash, and gases, which can be very dangerous to people and the environment around it. So, earthquakes can lead to other disasters. It's all connected like a big natural chain reaction. In Taiwan, a powerful earthquake struck with a magnitude of 7.4 hit the island on April 3rd. It was the strongest earthquake to hit Taiwan in 25 years, triggering hundreds of aftershocks and landslides. Its epicenter located in Hualien County. When people talk about the epicenter of an earthquake, they're talking about the spot on the Earth's surface that's right above where the earthquake began, deep inside the Earth. It helps us know where the earthquake started and how far its effects might reach. The tremors rippled through affected areas, leaving behind a trail of destruction and challenging the resilience of the local communities. The number of people who died in the earthquake went up to 16 on Wednesday, officials said. They also mentioned that 3 people are still missing in the Shakadang Trail, including 2 people who are Singaporean Australians, and more than 1,100 people were injured. On Thursday, rescue teams were working to free more than 700 people who remained trapped in a national park in Hualien, the epicenter of the quake. Residents in Hualien said rescue workers moved quickly to evacuate them from damaged buildings. The 9-story Uranus building, an apartment complex, was among several buildings that partially collapsed and were left tilting dangerously as emergency workers raced to find those inside. Yu Yang, a 27-year-old delivery worker who lives in the building, found herself pinned between her closet and table as the building suddenly tilted following a strong aftershock. She said, "I felt helpless and couldn't move at all." Within about 3 hours, 2 rescue workers climbed into her apartment and used their own safety rope to lower her to the ground. The government's response has been very quick, and they've worked very hard. It was really dangerous, but the search and rescue workers were willing to climb in, she said. So now what precautions a person should take in order to protect oneself and humanity in such a dangerous situation? When you feel the ground shaking, remember to drop down to your hands and knees to avoid getting knocked over. Cover your head and neck with your arms and seek shelter under a sturdy table or desk if possible. Hold on to the furniture until the shaking stops. If you're inside a building, stay there during the earthquake. Avoid running outside as there might be falling debris or other dangers. Move away from windows, glass, and anything that could shatter during the shaking. If you're outside when the earthquake starts, move to an open area away from buildings, trees, streetlights, and utility wires. Drop down and cover your head until the shaking stops. If you're in a public place like a school or office, follow the evacuation plans and move to designated safe areas. Keep an emergency kit with essential items like water, food, first aid supplies, flashlight, and batteries in an easily accessible place. Listen to emergency broadcasts on the radio or TV for updates and instructions from authorities. Remember, earthquakes can be scary, but staying calm and knowing what to do can help keep you and others safe. And stay updated with local authorities. For more tips and information on earthquake readiness, check out the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website for detailed resources, linked in the description below. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Stay tuned for more captivating stories as we uncover the AZ of the world's most compelling topics. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.